Hello everyone, welcome to ESL TV for the ESL 1 Battlefield 2014 group stages. We're into, finally, after 3 days, into the decider group. And this one's obviously filled with quite a few teams. There's only going to be 3, but there's going to be quite a few more matches. Actually going to be tagging along an extra one for this one. But before we get to that, I'm going to introduce to you my lovely, fantastic, and always amazing co-caster here, Lauren Pansy Scott. How are you doing?
I'll take it, but I'm not sure if I'll agree. But yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm looking forward to today's games. Excuse me. It's always good to kind of check in with the teams again, see, you know, maybe they improved on their previous mistakes. Kind of highlighted it at the end of the last show. There's a lot of work that could have been done, you know, maybe for the first teams that realized they're going to this decider group. So we'll see who's more prepared for this now.
Yeah, well, let's go and put up all the groups that we actually had, kind of an overview of the graphics as we can see. Group A, B, and C here. Fnatic and Planet Key both qualifying from Group A there. Epsilon and Pyrogen qualifying through Group B, where Pyrogen actually came out beating Epsilon and qualifying first. And of course, we had, obviously, on Monday, Meet Your Makers and Dignitas qualifying from Group C. And I think one thing we can both agree on, Pansy, is that Dignitas surprised the hell out of us.
Yeah, I think they surprised just about everyone with their performance. And, well, you know, MYM looked a little bit sloppy there. I think that's the bigger thing. You know, they did not look that strong at all. And, you know, that was a very hard group. And to be fair, eSuba did pick up one match in that, who we will be seeing today. And actually, I think they're in the first game. So as a refresher, just to take you through in case we didn't quite highlight it in full depth, the teams we have in today's group are quite easy to kind of explain. They're the ones who didn't come in the first 2, basically, out of their groups. Simple as that. They came third, basically. Now we have Exacquio, who are the highest seeded team within this small amount. Therefore, they get the bye in the first round. And they'll be meeting the winner between ESC and Dignitas. Not Dignitas, I believe it's InFamouS. So we'll change that around.
ESC either. It's eSuba and InFamouS.
eSuba and InFamouS. There we go. Don't worry, we'll adjust accordingly. But still.
But that would be quite a game, though.
That would be a good game, but it's not just that. So don't worry, it will be Exacquio, eSuba, and InFamouS within today's games. And the first game will be eSuba up against InFamouS. Now, eSuba and InFamouS had a bit of a tough time. eSuba's original group in Group C was Team Dignitas, Meet Your Makers, and ESC. Very tough time for these guys.
The thing is, though, they surprised the hell of us. We unfortunately didn't get to see the game they played against Meet Your Makers, at least the first set of it. But it was ridiculously close, as we heard. I mean, I believe the final map was actually only a 10-ticket lead for Meet Your Makers in the first half. Like, that's how damn close it was between those two teams. And right now, eSuba, the real question is, have they kept that momentum from Monday?
We can only wait and find out, really. You know, they were a little bit of a surprise. And then they've got InFamouS as well, who did cause a bit of a, you know, a little bit of a shake-up. Very strong team who did very well on very specific maps. Whether or not they can apply that throughout all the others, we're here to find that out today.
I like how you said that, on specific maps, because actually one of the maps that we did see him perform well on against Planet Key Dynamics was Dawnbreaker, and that will be, I believe, our second map of the actual series. So the first one will be on Operation Locker, and third, if we do need it, will be Gold Mode Railway, which I think we saw only once throughout the entire group so far, and that was with Dignitas on Monday.
Yeah, I think you're quite correct, actually. There's been very little of Railway. It's kind of been one of the more fast-paced, action-packed maps that can go either way. It's very easy to rotate between the sites. So maybe people thinking, let's not leave it to you know, chance. Let's make sure we get the maps we want and get prepared for it. And you know, at the moment, you know, it would be the deciding map if we go to, I believe, in this matchup, as you mentioned. But I don't think they want it to go there. I think they want it over in 2.
I mean, we saw finally Dignitas play it, like I said, on Monday, and they had a really unique strategy of blowing down all the buildings pretty much.
They kind of applied that throughout every map they played, though.
Yeah, if you could blow it up, they did it.
Pretty much.
That's very true. But I believe actually getting underway here in just a few seconds. We're going to drop you straight in the game here because we're kicking this one off here. And over on the US side, it's going to be InFamouS. And over on eSuba, it's going to be on the Russia side, obviously, here. And right now, I mean, Operation Locker, some interesting things about this map we've seen recently without, you know, the Scar H being played, specifically around that C flag.
Yeah, and we can kind of highlight that if they go for off the start, hence why I want to kind of sit on board with these guys. Previously, the Russian side, which is eSuba, would always have sent at least one player out towards C. They'd generally sit up here with maybe the Scar H and lay down the fire to anyone trying to cross over. But now without the Scar H in play, it's kind of left it a little bit more in the hands of the US side, which will be InFamouS. So it's kind of changed the meta a little bit, and actually we're seeing that in full effect here as the entirety of eSuba are focusing towards the inside site, hitting up A, leaving Yo-Yo to pick that up, leaving the rest to split through mid, and go for the immediate challenge, possibly towards B.
As you can see, the first kill going to come in on the side of InFamouS here. Grimjaw will pick that one up. And actually, we should introduce both teams real quickly while we do get this game just starting here. We have Grimjaw, Zuzu, Kremat, Tony, Heist on the side of InFamouS, and over on the side of eSuba, Eraser, Lords, Yo-Yo, Scope, and Reflex here. And right now, we do have that 2-cap advantage to the side of of InFamouS, but that's quickly being turned around here with this 2-3-man push here on these respawns towards this B flag.
Yeah, but it's a little bit, back and forth here.
It was a complete swap of sides.
It was. It really was. And that was because eSuba went very aggressive through mid. They put all of their players pretty much down towards the area, seeing Eraser in the moment, going for the straight-up challenge rather than C, which is a risk. But you can kind of say the same as well for going out on C these days. And with guns like this in play, the AEK, you don't see that long-range battle as much because it doesn't quite hold its own. The damage drop-off is quite significant when you get to that point. So there's 2-to-1 hold. InFamouS seem to want to be keeping in these kind of corridors, these close-range battles, keeping it as much into their favor as possible. Right now, Kremmer is pushing up. Zuzu is picking up a nice little double there for himself. And actually, at the moment, we will be seeing the one-on-one going down, and Yo-Yo gets absolutely smashed to pieces. And this AC hold will stay in place. And you can see the crossfire they're going to start creating around this sort of area. And it's going to start really hurting if the Russian team try and make a cross.
And I should just go back to overview really quickly here, just for a second, because I want to spot something on the top side. You can see 2 people are holding C. One's holding this main cross right here, as he's actually going to be against 4 people right now, and that's going to be Zuzu. Suki quick spending more. He will get that second one. Can he get the third? He will not pick that up, but he still has stalled him for a little bit. But he has that second man out there, as you see. It's going to be Heist, and they've been holding off the push from inside to outside here, really wanting to lock that down. And what we've seen from Operation Locker is typically teams don't do that too much here in Heist. He's still going at it. And right now, the only man surviving is Eraser right now, and they've almost pulled out a full squad up. They have stopped this 4-man push onto this outside flag.
Yeah, and this is the first time we're seeing a team being happy with the AC hold and being smart about it. That's why they put the 2 players out there towards C, and that's why it paid off. At the moment, they've still got Zuzu out there. They've got the likes of Kremer not too far away. They left Heist to push up a bit because he can probably get a safer respawn towards Zuzu or Kremer around the back. I'm curious to see which one he takes right now when they come through, because actually A is looking vulnerable, so he might join Tony any second now, as it may need reinforcements. As Eraser is coming through here, but actually no one going to help him out. He's got full faith in these guys, and look at that, Kremer with a nice little pickup on the side as well. And this is what I talk about time and time again. Sometimes, if you're not being overrun on your 2 sites, don't bother pushing for that third. Lock it down, gain the advantage of tickets, like we're seeing right now. And then if you feel okay with losing out on A, let's hit up B. Let's use the sites we have to give us a good route towards the second. And right now, InFamouS are showing why they're very good on very specific maps.
And there's one team that actually they're making me think of right now that we saw before the first season even began, Eyeballers on this against Fnatic. Like,
yeah,
Eyeballers were very content on holding 2 flags and just sitting there, and not crossing that certain line that can cause those back respawns here. And right now, well, just to start to speak about them only holding on to 2, they're going for the tri-cap, and honestly, they might be able to pull it off. There's going to be 2 or 3 men coming on the side of eSuba here. They'll pick up a couple of kills, but still, InFamouS, look at the lead that they have. Almost, actually, no, over 70 tickets right now.
I don't think they're actually going for B. I think they're just going to try and hold up eSuba, because eSuba kind of got in their faces down at A. They kind of broke through. I think it was just down to Tony to actually hold on to it. So I think they're just going to get in their faces. They may die, but they have a backup player down by A who will be sitting at A playing the defensive role. This man is a bit of a a bit of an issue. If they realize that pretty much the entirety of the opposition is in this spot, they should get out towards C. But tunnel vision is on, and they're going to be trying to hit up this A site, and they're going to be reinforcing themselves here any second now. Tony back in place. Kremer, I can imagine, down the side. It's actually Heist this time. Still doing the job. And they maintained the 2-to-1. They've got a lot of kills to boot, and they've kept the opposition back. But here's that weak spot. C was left fairly open, and it could come back to haunt them here. And
they're actually setting out 2 respawns here on the Reflex right now. They will be able to lock it down, so they will have that 2-to-1 hold for a split second, which honestly, they desperately need right now. You can see almost 100 ticket difference between these 2 teams currently, but they're still being killed everywhere. They're being shut down left and right, and look at the kills alone, Pansy. 37 for InFamouS, 16, if I can read correctly, for eSuba.
Yeah, and we saw a little bit of a kind of gutsy play then, but it was just to buy time to allow the B flag to be taken over by InFamouS, and straight away they've got a nice little crossfire set up here. Grim, and I believe that's Heist pushing through. The AK gets the shot, doesn't get the second, but he takes down Lords, and there comes the rest of his side into position, picking up those kills, pistol in hand. Kremer and Grimjaw just decimating them one by one by one, and C is open for the taking, but they need to now be ready to set for a BC hold rather than the other way around.
Doesn't look like they're content with just that right now, as you do get the cap on a C. We have Heist coming around the backside here from Respawn. Looks like he will get taken down, though, so he will not pick that one up. But eSuba, this is not the team we saw yesterday. Monday. This is not the team we saw almost take down Muture Makers, the Season 1 champions. And right now, they are struggling just to pick up anything here. But it looks like they will finally get the control of B. There's going to be one man there, Tony, will actually be defending against a potential push here. But Let's see, with that 100 ticket lead they have right now, they can probably feel a little bit happy to let something slip by.
Yeah, but something could have been a triple cap then. A is finally being taken back over. Tony is waiting for the others to rotate off this site and then be a pest and push forward to claim a 2-1. But at the moment, InFamouS is struggling to make it out of A. Nice grenades have allowed Kremer to push forward, picking up the kill towards Scope, and then maybe unlocking a little bit of a step towards B. And there we have it. Tony waited out the time correctly, pushed in towards the site, and we're going to be seeing an A and B hold unless Reflex can find that one player who's not too far ahead of him. He's running with the FAMUS, so that hipfire will be on his side, but he's been caught in the back. Well played from the rest of InFamouS, realizing where the weak spots were, coming back through, but it's not done just yet. Kremer now has a fight on his hands. Lords just in front, pistol comes out, Lords goes down. Revive into boot for InFamouS, and we are back in the action. A is still up for grabs, but look at InFamouS flooding towards the site. 3 players back to back coming through. Those 23 tickets are going to be really in trouble right here. They've spread out where the respawn is as well, and InFamouS are just going to be spamming it out, mowing it down, and it's almost a complete squad wipe against eSuba.
That was ridiculous because InFamouS, they had one man come in from the backside, actually towards that B flag, and he got multiple revives over and over again. So they were able to keep fighting, though, now able to keep dueling. And right now, C will be capped over, B will be taken away from InFamouS here. But look at that, 11 tickets remain on the side of eSuba, and 116 right now for InFamouS. They're showing no signs of stopping. And the thing is, this isn't even their map choice here. Their map choice is Dawnbreaker, and if they can do that well on eSuba's pick, I'm really looking forward to seeing them, advance on to play against Exacpo here a little bit later on today.
Definitely, and everyone played their role really well for InFamouS. Kremer being one of them, 16-6 for his side, running with that AAK, going for the angle grip on it actually. So trying to utilize maybe a little bit more use over a slight bit of range, but it's doing the job. And see, it's being challenged, but eventually Tony won out, got the revive, and it should be a 2-1, and that should be just about enough to win the game through here. So they'll be walking away with over 100 tickets, 113 actually sitting in InFamouS's pocket. If you want to look at it this way, it's a deficit of 113 for eSuba, which is a big, troublesome sight, pretty much. Look at those scores. I've got to point it out. Grim, Tony, Kremer. Perfect play. And Zuzu and Heist played smart. Heist was occasionally the guy watching the push, playing the rotate, not being the man in the action.
Yeah, but his score is like
it's still
pretty
yeah, man. 9-7, awful,
compared
right?
to his team. I know. I mean, you're very right. He was the man.
It was awesome. It was really well played by those guys.
He was the information gatherer for his team.
Yeah, and that's what you need to do. And we saw it time and time again in the other couple of games that sometimes getting those spots in rather than going for the initial kills is just as vital. Yeah. And, they adapted the whole strategy, Dignitas, just to be able to get those first couple of spots, get the initial 2-1, and then play off the back. And to be fair, though, InFamouS there looked absolutely formidable. The way they were playing, I loved it. That's, this is what InFamouS can do on the right maps. They can be such a dominating force. It's quite a surprise to see. They play it perfectly. So rather than going for those 3 caps when they didn't necessarily need to do it, they play safety on the 2. And then maybe they see, okay, well, A is being challenged a lot here. We're not really being able to get set up well enough before they can get in our faces. All right, let's all push together, push out towards B like we saw, challenge them there. We may lose out, but they already had the likes of Heist or Tony sitting back on that A flag waiting for that respawn. Yep. So they knew that, okay, we're just going to push them back a little bit. Once we take a couple down, keep them back at B, maybe split Tony up to hide around behind those stairs like we saw, we can regain control. And they always got nicely set up again. So at the moment, this is going to be a really tough time for eSuba coming back from this. Anything above 100 tickets is really tough going.
I don't think I've ever seen a team come back from a 100-ticket deficit.
I think I've seen it once, but that was in the first season, and it was a little bit dominating. It was one team having a brilliant half, and the other doing just the same. So it's very rare to see someone turn this around, but eSuba could. And they are starting on this side, so they should be, at least from the start, gifted C and B, but they might try and expect an aggressive start from InFamouS here.
And what you have to keep in mind is that InFamouS, I mean, like you said before, they're very strong on certain maps, but they also push Fnatic to almost a loss.
Yeah, they're going for the aggressive start. This is dangerous.
Let's see what they can do here. And obviously swapping sides, and right now eSuba getting taken down here. First blood does go in favor of InFamouS, but they haven't kept on a C just yet. And you see Reflex pushing up towards this this staircase, so stairwell right now, and he's trying to get control back for B here, but gets flanked from the backside, instantly taken down here. And obviously, 113 tickets threshold, that's about 2 or 3 pushes in the beginning of the game before you have lost it.
Yeah, but look at this one play from the outside. If you can get this kill right here, it is Zuzu. It's Heist coming around the back. He can secure a nice little 2-1 for InFamouS as well, and that was really well played. It could be a triple cap, and actually there's no one there to challenge it, and even A's not got a player near it. The only person who could do something in this is a 2-player man against one out there is Reflex here. He might be able to stop that C-hold, but he's got the FAMUS. It's the worst gun to be having at this sort of range. He's even got the stubby grip to boot. It's really not going to help out. He does actually find Heist on the push away from the site, so he's going to be trying to get out here, but already a challenge coming from Kremer. The top fragger from the last half, but those nades really making it hard work. And actually, a bit of a superstar play from Reflex there, picking up that C site, and maybe his team can break through on their own by A, but at the moment, it looks like InFamouS have got it locked down.
Yeah, I mean, you're sitting on about 10 tickets right now before you are out of this first map here, and well, either they do cap over to A, they finally do cap over to C here, but InFamouS have so much time to play with. As you see, 145 left on themselves, and yeah, they will in fact lose control of A here as eSuba finally gain somewhat of control of it, but with 4 tickets to go, I mean, they can't let anyone die on their team right now. They have to keep all those revives in and win out these next fights, these next duels for the next 3 minutes.
Yeah, and they're playing passively. They're not playing for the crossfire, as you can see through mid here. They're playing from the side. So Lord's sitting in, playing smartly there, waiting for the push rather than the peak. But actually, it's going to be C that's going to be hit pretty hard. But Reflex in a good little spot there, waiting for the above push. Shoots his load a little bit early, so he could be caught out. Grim does turn around, and it's going to be Grim to take him down. And these kills could be costing them the game right now. C is now vulnerable to hell. A is being lost, and I think this might be just about it. And I don't think they can turn this one around, really.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, just the respawns alone are going to screw them over here. 114 now, and obviously 2-1 against them, and maybe even 3 here in just a second. There it is. So that will be it. That will be eSuba losing on the first map here, and that means we will be going on a Dawnbreaker with a 1-map advantage to the side of InFamouS. I'm a little bit worried for eSuba. I mean, obviously, if they do lose, they have another chance since it's a double elimination bracket, and they would play against the losers of InFamouS and Exacquio, if I remember correctly. And well, obviously, like we just saw, in terms of rankings, Exacquio on paper should be the better team. But if you already lose to InFamouS this hard, I mean, I don't know. Not looking too good for eSuba. They're not looking like the team we saw on Monday, and they need to change something around. Yeah,
they definitely do. They must. They need to adapt somewhere along the lines. And considering you're coming into now InFamouS's map, that's really dangerous. Like if you're going in on your own, you're on your own map and you feel a little bit more comfortable. You got caught out, okay, and it was a really bad half to have against you. Like, anything above 100 tickets, it's going to be hard to turn around no matter who you are. Like, even the likes of Fnatic struggle in those points. Even, Epsilon, whoever they may be, will always struggle. Just mentally, there's not much you can do. So, they need to be able to just start clean and play their own game, because InFamouS just overrun them and constantly dominated the pace then.
And what's so weird is that InFamouS actually, we're saying Dawnbreaker is their map choice here, and you see them play very well on it over, the course of the cups. But it's funny because they got destroyed by Planet Dynamics on that map. It was the first game of the day, obviously, so that could be a little bit into it.
But maybe this is them doing their work. This is their homework, We saw that they have their strengths and weaknesses. Dawn was not their strongest map. Maybe they've done their homework during the time they've been off. They were one of the first teams to find out that they'll be going to this decided group. One of the only first teams to be able to look back and go, okay, we made mistakes here. Weren't this strong on this map. Let's do some work on here. Let's get our team practicing. Let's play the go force. Do whatever we can to get on point. And if they've done that, we're going to see quite obviously, considering they went in with 113 lead on the half. If they can get above, let's say, a 70 ticket lead, I think this could be a 2-0.
I think it could. It very well could be. And this is something that we kind of saw in the first season. Teams all of a sudden playing, well, not playing extremely well, but, kind of getting
really stepping up
to the basics, figuring out what do we do wrong, what are we doing right, let's fix things, because right now it's crunch time. I mean, it's finals for them, just like it is everywhere else in the world right now for all the people in school. But you need, that was really, whatever. But
wow,
I mean, it's
America.
It's true.
Damn.
But I mean, we saw what Pyrogen do that last season.
It's the Frenchies, man. I'm telling you, man. It's these French guys. At the end of the season, they're like, all right, we've been holding back the whole time. We're going to turn up right here, right now.
Is that what they call it, holding back?
Yeah, that's the actual French. I speak fluent French. La baguette. Nailed it. All right.
I only know like a couple words in French, and one of them is I love you. And I'm not going to say that.
But I love you?
Yeah, I know. You have to learn how to say your own alias in French. Okay, so anyways, back to Dawnbreaker. Back to this game here. eSuba. I'm trying to remember if we saw them on Dawnbreaker, and I do not believe we did.
And even if we did, it's not standing out to us, so it's not exactly a great sign. It's like, if I look back at Dawnbreaker and I go, okay, what really stood out to me about this map? The way UMAV played it before. There's been a couple of teams here and there that have been quite prolific on it. eSuba's not been one of them. So I'm not sure what to make of this. They could surprise. They could turn up and do something pretty incredible, but they certainly have to do it pretty damn quick. But I think we're almost ready to get underway, so we can dive into the server pretty quickly, and I can kind of explain what we'll be seeing. So you see these two delightful men here. They will be waiting for the respawns, and I think it's going to be InFamouS. Yeah, it will be InFamouS on the Chinese side. The US side will be eSuba, and actually InFamouS were one of the teams who did the initial boost, but then went for the challenge down here. They went for the straight-up challenge. They did the nade out, got that nice little catwalk down, and went for the straight-up push through these buildings and challenge out on C and B rather than go for the safety pickup just on A. So there's the boost in hand, but I'm curious to see what they're going to run with this time. And we're going to find out as they are going live into the game. And actually, interesting strat this time, not going for the catwalk push. They're going for a massive inside push. Only 2 spawning in initially, 2 with inside the buildings. And they have a good foothold towards that B site. Can they just leave A up for grabs for now, sending 1 man around the back? That's going to be Heist. But InFamouS with a great start here, but they must hold back eSuba because Lords is in a good position to go on the rotate around the side.
He is, and right now InFamouS coming out very damn strong here on that Chinese side. And it looks like they are losing control of B here in just a few seconds, but they should be able to maintain it. As we're going to see Eraser now push in, try to finally give them some sort of light here, but this is the real question right now is can they adapt to InFamouS' strategy as quickly as they need to? Because we've seen a lot of teams, struggle for it. And sometimes it takes, 2 maps and a best of 3 for them to finally pull that off here. But they don't have that time right now. They don't have that luxury. But right now, they only have this 1 flag.
Oh, and Reflex was in such a perfect position that he really could have done something. And he got around the opposition, but he was a little bit too quick on it. He didn't really play it out smart, and it has given a 2-1 over to eSuba. It is a CA hold, slightly unorthodox, but eSuba are there up on that catwalk, and they are playing this one correctly to the best of their ability, but they're just not getting it on these sites fast enough, and they're being taken down at a distance. Those Ace-23s just really ripping them to shreds, and it's giving InFamouS so much control. They could move back on towards B here and actually get a triple cap any second now. 2 players on the site. Just wow.
You mentioned they play unorthodox. I didn't really expect an AC hold to come out, though, out of them for being unorthodox, but it's working out well for them. Obviously, like you said, they pulled off the tri-cap a little bit here. We can see 4 men on the side of eSuba push into that C flag, and they will finally get it back here. But right now, InFamouS, they have all the time in the world to get set up. They have all the time in the world to prepare for this. And as you can see, there's going to be a couple of men going through the buildings. There's actually 1 man going through to the flank on A here. Well, Zuzu just waiting for anyone to push in towards his side of the map.
Yeah, Zuzu just taking his time, playing smart. He knows this is where they're coming from, and he must wait this out correctly. He just kind of peeked a little early, but it has allowed his teammate round the back here, and actually pays off quite nicely. Yeah,
we do have Lords coming in from the backside of A. He was that single man to actually flank around here, and Grimjaw was just waiting for this the entire time, but he hasn't respawned him out. There's even a respawn coming in, and if Lords plays once correctly, he can pull this off so damn well for him. He picks up the first kill, and we're going to see him actually have some teammates coming from the sides and pick up the back kill as well. So they will get an A hold here for a split second, but in the meantime, losing on C. So like, whenever they finally go for a push somewhere, they fall in another flag.
Yeah, they're never quite quick enough on the trigger, and as you can see, a little bit late there again. They get the respawn in, but already InFamouS are in their faces on that catwalk, and it's going to be a double for Kremer coming in, denying Reflex and Scope, and straight away they're looking for their second pickup, and they need to because this one could be challenged, but we are seeing, the fact that A got a little bit, touched upon. InFamouS have got themselves back here, and Lords is, stuck between a rock and a hard place. He can go back to B that's being challenged, or he can go to A, which is also being challenged. That could have been a triple cap. They have maintained, at least for now, on towards B. They've also lost control of this catwalk, and that's going to just really make it hard to get off of here. This is a scrappy game, but at least they're holding on to their tickets a little bit better now. Yeah,
they definitely are. I think they've tripled the time they've had a 2 cap in their favor from that first map right now, and you're seeing them still trying to contest catwalk a little bit here, but InFamouS, they're going to win out that trade, and right now B's left all open for them to take, so they're going to get the 2-1 back for themselves. You can see the ticket difference, 128, 126 now to 91 here. And eSuba, I mean, they're fighting. They are trying their damn hardest to pull something off here, but they have to maintain these holds a little bit longer. They have to pick up these kills if they want to have a chance of pulling this off. Because you can see, 22 now to 14 kills. That is not a pretty sight.
No, it's definitely not. But Reflex is trying. He's got himself round towards that A site, and they're good at this back cap on A, but they really need to be able to hold these rather than just touch it, take it, and then leave and then get taken over. Those nades, though, just rolling into the feet, and already InFamouS committing 2 players right back here. They don't want to let this one go. They want to get this one underway and get this in the bag because, it got a little bit close. And as you mentioned, the tickets aren't too far apart, but this time they're not being able to set up so quickly. They're not giving me an instant setup. It's going to be a little bit slower than that, and actually it might pay off into eSuba's favor if they can get some kills on the board, actually maintain a 2-1 at some point, because right now they're really struggling to do so. But Grimjaw is going to be in trouble. He's got 2 players pushing towards him. He needs to hold on to this somehow, but the crossfire coming through, those nades landing at eSuba's feet has allowed him to peek forward, picks up Yo-Yo, and Reflex finds a reply onto Heist, but still it's a slow push through, and A and B are still being maintained. maintain. Grim takes down another kill towards Yo-Yo, but can he find the one final player? Yes, he can. Takes down Lords. That's a triple on the catwalk, and they've still maintained. And it could be a triple cap just to add insult to injury. Heist knows he's in trouble here. He's not here for the long haul. He's holding them up a little bit. Wants to get a couple of kills maybe, but he knows he's going down. But they need to make sure they don't lose out on B here as well.
Well, just like that, they start to actually lose out on this one here. So Zuzu could be coming from the backside. Will pick up a nice little kill right there, and that will stop that cap over, but it has been neutralized. So that has stopped the bleeding a little bit here for eSuba. As you can see, 56 to 118 now. So where's it actually going to come from? They're sitting in the buildings a little bit. You know, they're trying to get some control of the map here, maybe force them out towards that catwalk side. But even if they're holding the buildings, one man still always, you know, squeaks by. There's going to be a cap on a C now for Tony here, and Scopes gets taken out inside anyway. So it's just, I don't know, their positions that they're using just aren't really working out for them. They're not covering all the angles they need to spot InFamouS out as they, you know, advance into their side of the map.
Yeah, and there's still over 114 tickets in the pockets of InFamouS, and they don't seem like they want to be losing these anytime soon. They're not in the best position this time, though. They could be undone by a good push from A towards B, but actually Scope going straight in, maybe for a bit of a C play here. He might just get himself straight out. He's got support from Reflex, and actually no one really on the side. There is actually no teller line. One man is waiting in the wings, and I think that was Tony coming through, so that's got to hurt. And here we go. He's going to be waiting on the second one. FamouS in hand, and he's going to be waiting just for that push across. Gets the respawns in. B still being held, but he's going to be challenged by two. One above. He's going to have to play this carefully, and look at that. He's playing so smart. He's got support on this side. He might decide to back away from here and make sure they try and hold one towards B as long as possible, because all sides are being challenged here, and eSuba are not done just yet.
They're not. They actually have 3-4 men pushing from C towards that B flag, so they will maintain control of it here for a split second. Now, this is the question. Now we have to see them set up. We have to see them get that line hold they need, and they have to just not let that slip away from them, because eventually, well, they will lose out in the first half if they don't start, you know, building up these tickets right now. And InFamouS, they have all the time in the world to start to push back here, and we're seeing them coming from a couple directions, pushing from A, pushing from that Maic spot as well. And as you can see, with all the skulls and crossbones coming up, they're picking up the kills.
Yeah, they definitely are. Nice little backspawn for Kremer as well for InFamouS. It's going to make that even harder to make this kind of hold on towards B, even stick for it for eSuba. And they're making the most of it, but they're just getting taken down one by one. Every single player I go to, it's like, he's alive, he's dead, he's alive, he's dead.
Killing
it's
them.
just, yeah, I know. It's bad spectating pretty much. But this is not looking good. eSuba have been knocked down every side. You can see those nades. Literally, Yo-Yo could not move across this area. He's been stuck here. You can see the marks on the floor. There's at least 2 nades in this one spot just to keep him back. Keeping B neutral is working into the favor of InFamouS. They already have those 2 sites. A has been challenged by eSuba, so now we need to see this one kind of being won out by eSuba here if they want to get a 2-1 hold, because their tickets are getting low.
The thing is that every time they die here, they're losing out on even more here. I mean, we're at 46 to 35 in kills, so yeah, 11 difference. Not as bad as what we saw in Operation Locker, but it needs to be closer than this here. It needs to be a lot more even between both these teams. And Reflex, you know, we talked about him on the first map. Well, he's 13-9. He's leading his team currently, but he can't be the only man that steps up for his team. Everyone else needs to help out here, and well, let's see what he can do as he start pushing towards that B flag. And it actually is being capped over for the side of InFamouS, but he's going for a back cap here. I don't know, a little interesting out of him. Picks up one kill, but gets taken on right behind him, and they will still not hold that 2-1.
Yeah, and eSuba straight away moving in towards B. They realized InFamouS had a lot of players there. It was the fact that Reflex actually spotted out a couple of respawns onto the members standing, so it's the right choice. But these nades are so damn good coming out from InFamouS. Just one after the other, keeping these guys really working for this, and it's not making it easy at all. And here comes the push in towards the side. Heist moving in, joined by one other. And we are seeing a good little position, though, coming out from the rest of these eSuba guys. They're going to get a nice little crossfire position with it's actually a Razor here. But still, I think it's too little too late. 11 tickets now, it's not enough. They're trying desperately to maintain, but there's already a triple cap coming out from Kremer with the right sort of intuition to hit this side up. And InFamouS, they're living up to their reputation. They're playing very well here, and they've maintained a very strong lead of a hell of a lot of tickets now. So eSuba, backs to the wall now.
I don't even know what to say at the end of that, because eSuba kind of just, they had a spawn towards A, but they didn't bother capping it. They went straight in for fights. They went straight in for kills. I mean, I can see how that could work out, but InFamouS doesn't even have to respawn in because they have the flags they need to, you know, eventually get the victory here. But 79 tickets, that's a lot. Tony 16-8, Krema 10-12. The score doesn't reflect what he did though. The constant random respawns coming from him, backcapping over and over again, was just, well, as you can tell, too hard for eSuba to deal with.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was not a nice day for these guys. They were struggling from start to finish. Yeah. They had occasional moments of really like smart play. They realized when they should be pushing to these sites, and you'd expect that from a team who've kind of finished in this position, but they started to pick up a little bit, but it took so long to get there for them that I'm not sure if it was worth it in the end. You know, they just didn't have the decisive nature that they needed to on the first half here. You know, the team who kind of makes the decisions, who leads the pace on the first half, always comes out on top. You know, it's as simple as that. When you're trying to play like this reactionary game, if you're not, you know, a great team at reading the opponents, you're going to struggle. And they really did. They never quite got, you know, ahead. Those nades constantly held them back, and they're always desperately trying to find a way in. But, you know, when there's literally a wall of grenades landing every time you get towards like the crossing point.
And you saw it at B as well. I think towards the end there, it was just nade after nade after nade. I think there's about 4 or 5.
It was pretty harsh.
Just constantly coming in over and over again. But we're going to be kicking off here the second half. We're obviously going to have them swapping sides.
Swapping
sides.
Swapping and
if you guys haven't heard that phrase, it's American. So it's not American. I just want to get out of this one. But here, InFamouS going to be on the US side, and obviously eSuba going to be on the Chinese. And right now, eSuba, they have to win this half if they want a chance of getting to the winner's bracket side of this double elimination.
I think they've had a tough start. Okay, let's be honest here. You know, the InFamouS are a great team, and they are very talented at this. But you got to make a better impression than this one. InFamouS are just dominating them, and they go for the correct start. Excuse the terrible camera work then. But we're going to see if they can do anything now. It's all or nothing for eSuba. As you said, they will be on that Chinese side, so I believe that will be Eraser pushing forward. I mean, the guy getting those respawns towards him, but there's the immediate challenge coming out from InFamouS straight down the highway side, and actually Krema's picked up one of the kills, picks up a second with Zuzu there finding scope. There goes the catwalk, here comes the push, and InFamouS straight away looking dangerous.
This is what you called out before we even started this map. You said that this is exactly something they do here. You know, challenge out that road right away, and they come out ahead, pick up the kills, and pick up the B5. So they're going to have the early 2-1 hold here. And obviously, 79 tickets is that threshold, and they are not that far away from it, to be honest here. And eSuba, well, they need to do something quick.
Yeah, eSuba need to kind of like gather themselves in straight away. They need to go, okay, well, we lost down here. We didn't get the ideal start that kind of gets given with the side. We need to find a backup plan and execute straight away. It's about getting the kind of coordination to make it count. So Eraser's coming back towards C. That's the right choice. Good play. But he does need some support because already, I can imagine this is Zuzu or Tony, the position we saw before with the FAMUS coming in. Nades are coming back, though, this time, and eSuba aren't going down without a fight. They picked up 2 packs. They actually picked up a triple cap then for a couple of seconds. But InFamouS, I can imagine, a matter of time. They've got the 3 players up on towards A. They'll pick that one up. But now they're going to have to walk it. We kind of fight against the tide almost, because already eSuba are going to be in position here.
I mean, the thing is, eSuba's not doing it. It's like the back-to-basics stuff is that you need to hold 2 flags. You need to be able to do that. Yeah, they can pick up a tri-cap right there, but if they can't pick up the 2 that they need and maintain that for a while, obviously the tickets will end up like they did in the first half here. And well, InFamouS, they do finally fall behind here for the first time, I believe, in both maps. But they're quickly going for the cap on a C here, so they will grab that one. They're actually having 3 men back towards A. And now Krema can be the man to actually push out of A here and maybe pick up a kill or 2 as he does. You have 1 man off to his side here. It's going to be Lords, and well, Lords will get taken down. Krema going to secure that one, and that is 4 men now down here on the side of eSuba. Only 1 man left alive. He's actually on catwalk. And InFamouS, they don't really care. They're picking up B for free here.
Yeah, we saw eSuba with that triple cap. We did see them with that triple cap for a second then. It started to look good, but they kind of let it slip then, and you know, they overextended, which is the biggest problem with these guys. They don't really kind of play, as you mentioned, basic Battlefield on occasion. They really let it slip. And now, InFamouS are a team that will hold the 2-1s here. They will settle down, and they're doing it right now. They may lose out on A, but they're challenging enough on B to keep a solid score. eSuba needs to read this correctly, put the focus through this building towards C. There is already one defending it, but they have a clear way of dominating this building right here, and they're not using it at all. And they've left it open enough to allow InFamouS to actually push through towards A, and this is just going to make it worse. It's, you know, Yo-Yo's going to have to hold on against, you know, 2 players pushing towards him. I think he knows what's coming, but they're so split up. They're literally in separate squads almost, and the tickets are going to get really low real quick.
It really feels like eSuba's playing without their mics on or something, because they're not communicating. They're not really deciding together as a team, as a coercion to really go for a certain flag. And I mean, yeah, they have 2 men split off trying to go for that 2-man hit squad maybe that we saw obviously Dintos use yesterday, but it's just not working out for them. They need some communication. They need to all to come together and figure out what's the next plan of attack, because every moment they let slip by is a second closer they're getting to be knocked out here into the lower half of the brackets. And right now, Scope will be capping over to C here, or at least we'll try to. We'll be taken out immediately, though, and he is now hurting quite bad. Obviously, 83 to 79 is that threshold, and they are almost there.
Yeah, triple cap coming in to make it hurt. C is going to be taken over by Zuzu. as the last couple of tickets will be trickling away from them. And 78, they've dropped below it. That will be the game in the bag for InFamouS very early on. These guys showing they meant business from the absolute start here. So really well played to them, looking dangerously good. And let's just check in with the scoreboard because we will be going to garbage time. 8-3, 7-2, 5-5, 3-4, 4-4. InFamouS just solid play. I think the way they kind of dominate it is within that first half. They always show that they're very talented and they can do the triple cap pushes and then fall back to a 2-1 hold. Whereas eSuba, not quite able to do that, and they don't quite look like they've turned up today to do the job in hand.
It's so weird because I want to say it's like they even know how to get 2 caps, but honestly that's completely wrong. I mean, they took Mutual Makers to a 3rd game and almost to a loss because they had 10 tickets, win in the first half of that 3rd map. But I don't know what's wrong. I don't know the difference. I don't know if it's eSuba playing a lot worse than they did on Monday, or if it's InFamouS playing so damn well today. I can't tell which one it is.
We're going to find out soon because obviously InFamouS will be going forward and they'll be facing off against Exacwo, who are the kind of harder opponents. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, I think, on paper.
paper.
So we'll be finding out if InFamouS actually are really playing above and beyond, or if the opponents just weren't as strong as previous. InFamouS, looking back at their group, who did they lose out to in the end? Fnatic and PKD. So PKD, a very strong side. Fnatic, I don't think I need to tell you guys at home anything about those guys.
I've never heard those.
No, there's a new team, right?
Yeah.
So they had quite a tough group, but so did eSuba. Dignitas and NYM, not exactly great. But again, NYM were quite weak. I think we can kind of take away from that. Even Dogbert said they were pretty off point, and they're maybe not really enjoying playing the game at the moment. They've kind of lost a lot of the commitment and a lot of the dedication it takes to be a top team. They're struggling to get that at the moment. So it's clearly affecting them. And eSuba, they kept up and it was a very big surprise to everyone. But when you look at the actual performance from NYM, it wasn't great. Whereas InFamouS really challenged Fnatic. It kind of riled up too easy to a point he was being a grumpy git as per usual. And PKD looked good. PKD are always good. It's easy to underestimate them.
It's weird though, because InFamouS destroyed Planet Dynamics after the first map. 100 ticket lead, 70 ticket lead in the second map. But then they got 2-0'd by them the second time they met. And that goes back to what we're saying. They're very hit and miss on certain maps here. And obviously they performed really well right now. But I'm worried. If let's just assume they get knocked out by Exacwo onto the lower half of the bracket and play against eSuba again, will the same thing happen? Will they be weaker the second time?
Yeah, to be fair, right? They look great on Locker. Really damn good on Locker. Considering it wasn't their choice, which is kind of interesting. I don't think they looked that good on Dawnbreaker. I don't think they were that solid. They were good. They were still good.
Yeah,
they were good enough to win the game. Don't get me wrong, but it was you looked at Locker, it was literally a lockdown. There was no way these two were going to do anything there. It was quite clear from the first half. It was like, okay, that's a map you don't pick against these guys. Whereas Dawnbreaker, they were great. Yeah. They were fine. But it just didn't quite play out to the way I thought it would. And they didn't maintain the 2-1s as long as I expected. They're a little bit more scrappy, a little bit here and there. I've seen stronger teams who didn't get through on Dawnbreaker doing better. So,
true.
I don't think it's a weakness, but I think someone who may meet up with them again might go, we can do better than eSuba on Dawnbreaker. Maybe it should be our choice.
Well, it was their choice. That's the funny thing. InFamouS is the ones let's do Dawnbreaker.
That's the weird part. It's like,
let's do it.
Why would you pick a... I don't know. I don't know. It's InFamouS. I'd love to speak to the guys and actually kind of find out their mentality towards these maps because they are so specific on them. True. But Exacwo, they're a great team and they did have a very tough group. Epsilon and Pyrogen in there. They lost out to those guys in the end. That's kind of like, okay, we understand your pain, guys. Don't you worry. But they're still a very good team. And I've constantly been saying, they're very close to being, a top-tier team, but they're just a little bit further back. They need to catch up a little bit, but, I think they could challenge InFamouS quite well. So that's certainly a very good game to watch.
Yeah, well, we will find out in a couple minutes. We'll take a quick little break here, guys. But when we come back, it's going to be Exacwo going up against InFamouS to see who wins out on the winner's bracket side of the tournament.